Hey everyone, welcome to your standing pose basics first video. So today's sequence is focusing on three poses. We'll build ourselves up to those three poses. And those poses are a low lunge, a high lunge, and warrior one. Now all of those postures have the pelvis in the same position, and that's an internally rotated position. So in order to really prepare the body for this internally rotated position, we actually need to do a lot of stretching through these external rotators and stretching through the calf and the ankle of the back leg as well to get the back leg's hip to rotate forward. Each of the postures that we're working on today will also talk about not just the pelvis and the legs, but then we'll talk about what the trunk is doing. And the trunk in all of these postures relies steadily on the erector spinae muscles, those muscles that lace the discs of the spine, as well as your quadratus lumborum, to really lift and extend or arch the back. The arms will be in the overhead plane for the final version of all three poses. So as we lift the arms up, you can kind of visualize what's needed of the back body to protect the lumbar spine. Then we need to really engage the core. So you'll feel the upper ribs sort of drawing down, engaging the rectus abdominis as the arms lift overhead. Lastly, the shoulders and the arms. Anytime the arms are in that overhead position, there's two things that need to happen. You might notice that the shoulders start to shrug up. So we use the lower third of your trapezius, the big cape on the back body, that triangle shape, to pull the trapezius down away from the shoulders. So we'll be using that. And lastly, we'll be using the triceps, and we'll be wrapping them forward to create more spaciousness here between the upper shoulder and the ear. So lots of consistent cues throughout all of the poses today, and a beautiful warm-up to get us into these poses with comfort and ease. Let's get started on our mats. I recommend 2 blocks for this practice. If you don't have them, pause the video and meet me back here. Start in a comfortable seat. Bring the right leg into the left inner thigh. So we're actually starting with a Janu Shirsasana. Good, and we'll just get our timer going here. Perfect. So Janu Shirsasana, right foot to the left inner thigh, fingertips behind you. Now, if you notice that any time that you're seated, you kind of want to slouch into the low back, you could sit yourself up on a blanket or some sort of prop, or even just double or triple up the yoga mat behind you. If you're okay here, place your fingertips behind you. Inhale, lift and lengthen through your spine. And then exhale, start to hinge at the hips. Folding forward. Continue to pull the left hip back as you fold. Perhaps arms come forward to either side of the leg. Arms could come forward to either side of the foot. Or you could also reach for your block and hold onto your block, pressing it into the sole of the foot, either on its smallest, medium, or longest level. So I'm going to go with the smallest level, just holding here. And if you are using the block, I want you to think about dorsiflexion in the foot, because that will start to extend the back of the leg. So pull the toes in toward the face. Can you feel that? Instantly you get an Achilles stretch and a gastrocnemius stretch, and then eventually a hamstring stretch as well. All of these muscles will be needed for the back leg of our standing sequence today. Continue to lift and lengthen through the spine, pulling the shoulders away from the ears. And then notice your breath, taking a nice inhale in and all the way out. With your next breath, place your hands down, lengthen your spine, and rise up. Draw the right knee up now and step the leg over the left. Try to push the big toe mound down, and in order to do this, you'll need to initiate your twist. So start to twist to the right here. Interlace the hands around the outer shin and just start that twist. This is stage 1. I love staying here in the mornings where I'm feeling a little tense. I pull the knee towards the opposite armpit and I just get a really nice stretch through all of these external rotators. So starting at the glutes all the way up into the outer upper thigh. For stage 2, you could drift one hand behind you, starting to bring the stretch more into the thoracic spine, peeling the ribs back, peeling the shoulder back, maybe taking the gaze back. For the final stage, you could add the hook by lifting the left arm up and hooking the arm to the outer leg, fingertips up or down, your choice. Slow breath all the way in, all the way out. Mindfully unwind. And then take the heel of that front foot all the way to the hip. So it's a half Gomukhasana. The knees get a little bit closer together. They do not have to touch. You could also use a prop. If your knee is really lifted, you could place a blanket or a block under it there. Either stay in the Ardha, the half version, starting that hinge at the hips process, just like Janu Shirsasana, arms can come wherever they land. Or you can add the full version by shifting your weight to the left and bending the bottom knee in now. When I go into the full version, I notice that I kind of need to bring my arms forward, squeeze my legs together so I'm hugging them to the midline, and then I shift my weight back, evenly weighting myself between my two sitting bones. For more of a challenge, you can pull the heels of the feet away from you. I'm going to keep mine kind of close today since I'm on the rocks of Georgian Bay. Place the fingertips behind, and then wherever you are, you're still just getting a small hinge at the hips. Feeling a beautiful stretch through these external rotators at the glutes. I'm always surprised at how effective this stretch is for me personally. Whether you've been inactive through a lot of seating positions lately, or you've been super active through lots of running or walking, you'll find something in this pose, I guarantee. Let's slowly release. We don't want to linger too long. Rise up, lean back, and switch sides. So get both legs in front of you after a clearing breath. Get the left leg in. Placing the foot right into the inner thigh. Fingertips behind you. Inhale, lift and lengthen through your spine. And exhale, hinge at the hips. Finding a resting place for the arms, either on the mat here, to the outer edges of the feet, or to the sides of the block, placed on the smallest, the middle, or the longest height. Wherever you are, that foot now is in dorsiflexion. Toes are pulling more in towards the face as the heel pushes away. And you do want your heel grounded, so as you push away, press it down. Deep breath in. Deep release out. Inhale, rise up. Draw the left leg up and cross it over the body. So you'll get to see the opposite view now. You'll interlace the hands around the knee and pull the knee towards the armpit. So notice that initiates that twisting action of my spine. The lumbar is the least mobile region of the spine. We want to keep it neutral. So as the pelvis stays forward, the shoulders open to the opposite direction. And that's when you really start to bring that stretch up into the thoracic, the most mobile region of your spine. Feel the shoulder down, feel the ribs back, take the gaze back. This is stage 1, you can stay here, or you can drop the fingertip behind you for stage 2. For stage 3, you could reach up and either hook or release the arm. a deep breath there. Come back through center and pull your heel towards your hip. Moving into the final stretch here. This can be an Ardha or a half version of Gomukhasana, or you're welcome to lean back and to the right just to get that bottom leg in. And then again, for me to get my sitting bones grounded, I need to lift up, squeeze my legs to midline, and lower back down onto my sitting bones. If you're doing that, you'll start to lengthen the spine, and then everyone start a slight hinge at the hips. Good, inhale, rise all the way up. Lean back, and then you'll get the soles of the feet together for your clearing pose. Soles of the feet together, place your thumbs toward the inner arch and peel the feet open like a book. So what that will do is we just stretched the external rotators, now we're rebalancing them. So starting at the inner arch of the foot, what you're doing here is externally rotating. So all of these guys get to just work again, and it recalibrates that muscle group. So you can take it to whatever level you want, staying here, or maybe cupping the toes with your fingers, or a slight hinge at the hips. Good, so that was our opening for the pelvis and the legs. Next, I want you to take a seat on your knees. So you can swing your legs to one side, prop yourself up onto your knees, and if you're on a hard surface like I am, you might want to just double up the yoga mat beneath you. So you could go ahead and double. And then everyone get your 10 toes tucked under you for a toe stretch. So we do want the sole of the foot, the Achilles, and the gastrocnemius pretty open for this pose. So we'll do a toe stretch while we multitask and move up into the trunk. You'll take your block between your hands. Take your block out in front of you here, and I want you to push into the long side of the block. So see, mine's placed this way. I'm pushing my hands into the block to activate my back body. So now as you push, we're going to practice lifting into the overhead plane, and the first one I'm going to do wrong. So if you're tight in the upper back and the shoulders like I am, when you lift into the overhead plane, the body's going to try and help you out. So I'm not getting any stretch here. I'm actually hurting my low back a little bit. My ribs have moved forward. There's not too much stretch happening. There's a whole lot of movement happening at the torso. So don't do that. Instead, as you bring the strap or the block forward, plug the head of the arm bones back. Bring one hand to your torso, pull the ribs down towards your hips, and you feel that really nice solid core. Keep that as you now lift the block up. Ooh, and you might get locked right about here. Maybe you can go a little bit higher. Maybe you can go a little bit higher. Exhale, lower all the way down. Try to push the hands into the block. And then inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. These are so hard. Inhale, lift. For any of these poses today, you're welcome to pause the video and do more rounds than I'm doing with you. Or of course, since it is a video, you're welcome to repeat this as many times as you want. So this is one that I try to do on a fairly daily basis. You can also do it with your strap, but the block is really awesome because in a lot of our yoga poses, especially the three we're highlighting today, the arms are supposed to be overhead, roughly shoulder distance apart. So to get that action, we want to practice with a prop. So when your arms are overhead here, notice what it feels like to push the arms together, to shrug the shoulders down and back, and to draw those ribs down. Can you feel a super solid effort through the entire back body, the erector spinae, and the latissimus dorsi, and the quadratus lumborum? Can you feel a strong effort through the front body, the rectus abdominis, and then all of those deeper layers of core. Let's just do about 2 or 3 more. Some of you might be holding, some of you might be flowing. Do what feels best. And then the next time you're up, I do want your hands to grip around the edges of your block, and then I want you to just pull. So see how my hands are on the edges here, and I'm pulling out. Oh, it feels so good. I'm getting that up into my shoulders. Ooh. And then slowly release. Nice work, everyone. So let's get off those toes. Maybe take a little patter behind you. And take the blocks by your side. Lengthen out your mat. This next exercise, you'll actually place your elbows on your blocks in a melted heart position. So bring your blocks forward with your hands. Have them on their medium level. Place your hips above your knees, and then lower your elbows onto your blocks. Bring your hands together in prayer. So for this position, I want your hips to stay above your knees, and as you slowly drop the chest in the direction of the floor. Now, as you do this, the thumbs will come toward the mid-back. And then we'll do a few cat-cows here. So in this position, I want you to fully cave. And then on your inhale, I want you to puff the upper back and kind of round. So exhale, release and cave. Inhale, kind of puff and round. 2 more. Exhale, release. Stretch it out. Inhale, come out of the pose, puff and round. And 1 more. Exhale. Stretch it out. And inhale. Puff and round. And then we'll just hang out in the pose. So lower down, stretch. And slowly release yourselves out, preparing for the full version of the pose now. Place your blocks to the side. From tabletop position, you'll take your hands 1 foot forward, spread the fingers wide. Start to give a push to the arms. Take your triceps forward as your biceps rotate back. So there's an outer spiral of the arm that really pulls the shoulders away from the ears. Release the forehead in the direction of the floor. Give a strong push to the hands. And then inflate the upper back just a little as you push your hips back. So notice that you're not fully caving into this pose, right? But you're actually still really strong and integral to the spine. This is the exact arm position that we'll use in all 3 of our standing poses coming up next. Give a strong push to the hands, return yourselves through tabletop. And let's set up for downward facing dog. So we begin in plank pose. Send one leg back and then the next. Give a strong push to your hands and a light lift to the hips. So find the same arms that we found in Melted Heart. A strong push to the hands. Wrap the triceps forward, the biceps back. Pulling the shoulders away from the ears. Drop the chest. And feel a strong back body here. Lift the hips a little higher by rising to the balls of your feet. And then exhale a soft bend at the knees as you keep the sitting bones pitching up. Keep as much bend in the knees as you need to eventually drop the heels just a little bit closer down to the mat. Maybe the legs straighten. Maybe you lock at the knees by engaging the quadriceps. Good, take your feet a little wider apart and we'll do a walk to the back of the mat. So use your hands to slowly help yourselves back. Reach for opposite elbows, sway to one side, and then the next. Place your hands to your hips, shoulders to back with a neutral spine. Rise up. So I hope you're feeling nice and warm. Come to the top of the mat and let's get started with our standing sequence today. Inhale, lift the arms into the overhead plane. And then pause here. With your arms overhead, remember that action of wrapping triceps forward, biceps back. Pull the back body strong as you drop the ribs towards the hips. So there's a lot of integrity in the torso now. Again, just mimicking what the torso or the trunk is going to be doing in all of our standing poses. Exhale, swan dive all the way forward, hinging at the hips as you bend at the knees. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, float the right foot to the back of your mat. Now you can double up the mat if you want, or just simply drop the knee. Release the top of the foot. Take your blocks with you. Your hands are on your blocks. This is stage one. Let's get the legs, everybody. So pull the left hip back as you draw the right hip forward. The pelvis should be neutral, both hips moving in the forward direction now. Keep that. Bring your blocks back behind you, so in line with your hips. And then give a push into your blocks to bring the shoulders over the hips. Sink into your pose. Let's add the arms. So this would be stage two, just kind of playing here, or you could lower your blocks a level or two. If you're ready to add the arms, go ahead and give a little push to the top of your back foot to continue to stretch that back psoas or hip flexor. And that'll really stabilize you as you get ready to lift the arms forward. Plug the head of the arm bones back and extend the arms into the overhead plane. Wrap those triceps forward and biceps back to really create spaciousness at the upper chest. Maybe even take the gaze up for a heartbeat. Maybe even press the palms together. Take a breath or two or three here. Good. Exhale, release the arms forward and down. Take them onto your blocks. Let's do the second side. Look forward, step forward. Exhale, left foot to the back of the mat. You can double up the mat beneath the knee or just land it like this. Once you have this position, I want you to pull the front hip back as you guide the back hip forward. So eventually the hips square off towards the short edge of your mat. You can either stay there or bring the blocks back in line with your hips. If you've done this version, once again, sink into the pelvis now as you pull the shoulders up over the hips. You can play with the variations of the blocks. Notice there's 3 levels that can bring you a little closer down to the mat. If you're ready for the final version, give a little push to the top of that back foot. It'll stabilize you and help you send the hips forward as you lift the arms forward. Plug the head of the arm bones back and extend the arms into the overhead plane. Wrap the outer arms forward as the inner arms pull back. So you get that really nice spaciousness across the upper chest. Maybe even take the gaze up or the hands together. Exhale, release the hands, bring them onto the blocks, look forward, step forward. Whew. Lengthen halfway, fingertips to shins, everyone. And then exhale, bend at the knees and fold. High lunge, inhale, lengthen halfway. Float the right foot to the back of the mat. Place your hands now palms down onto the blocks. Gaze back, pop the heel over the toes, and then straighten the back leg. So you're engaging your quadriceps to lock the kneecap. Keep that, sink deeper into the front leg. I want you to start really thinking about the weight of the body evenly being dispersed between the legs. So are you really shifted forward here right now? If you are, try to push off the back foot to really keep it firmly planted. Once again, pull the left hip back and then anchor that front heel down. You should feel super solid. If you're ready for stage 2, drift the arms forward and then plug the head of the arm bones back. So as you plug back, you'll move your shoulders back over the hips. Sink into the pose as you drift the arms up. Now remember that exercise with the block. As soon as the arms drifted up, we kind of wanted to arch the back. Don't do that. As your arms drift up, remember what it felt like to drop the ribs towards the hips and find strength and space in the back body. Keep the depth in your legs. Maybe press the palms together. Maybe shift the gaze up. Exhale, release. Nice work. Look forward, step forward. Exhale, place hands to blocks and float the left leg back. Give a strong push off the back toes, popping the heel over the toes, and then engage the quadricep by straightening the leg. Keep that as you sink into the front leg, stacking knee over ankle, pulling the front hip back. Again, notice the hips are squared forward. Balance your weight evenly from the back leg to the front, and then perhaps shift the arms forward. Plug the head of the arm bones back as you take the shoulders over the hips. Anchor from the pelvis down into the legs as you simultaneously lift from the pelvis up into the arms. Wrap the triceps forward, biceps back. Maybe even draw the hands towards each other. Any moment that you feel like you start to arch through the spine, keep the rectus abdominis just slightly engaged by pulling the ribs down towards the hips. Notice that that slight core engagement also really helps your balance. Maybe take the gaze up and then exhale, slowly release. Look forward, step forward. And then just hang, reaching for opposite elbows. Preparing for our final pose, Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1. Take a slight sway from one side and over to the second. Here we go, everyone. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Fingertips to shins, crown of the head nice and long. Exhale, plant your hands on your blocks as you float the right leg back. Rather than landing on the ball of the foot, plant the entire foot down. The toes of the back foot are on a 45-degree angle, pointing towards the right front corner of your mat. Push to the outer edge of the foot to help you sink deeply into the front leg. Once you have that, square the hips towards the short edge of your mat. And that's when you'll really start to feel the benefits of all of the Achilles and gastrocnemius work we did at the beginning of class. Can you feel that amazing stretch? As you continue to spiral the back hip forward, can you feel that stretch of all the external rotators? Good, keep that. Maybe just staying here, lengthening the spine long. If you're ready to add on, reach the arms forward, plug the head of the arm bones back, sink from your pelvis down into your legs as you simultaneously lift from your pelvis up into your arms. Good, draw the ribs slightly down towards the hips. Spiral the outer arms forward. Maybe even bring the palms closer to touch. Can you lift the gaze for even a heartbeat? Exhale, slowly release. Nice work. Come onto the ball of the back foot, look forward, step forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, float the left foot back. Again, rather than landing on the ball of the foot, plant the entire foot down, landing about 45 degrees. Give a push to the inner arch of the foot to help you bend into the front leg. And then square your pelvis forward towards the short edge of the mat. I find that I'm really weight bearing through my front heel to help with the balance. So I'm giving a nice push there to reach my arms up. Once you're ready, plug the head of the arm bones back and lift the shoulders over the hips. Good, stretch from the pelvis down into the legs as you simultaneously lift from the pelvis up into the arms. Draw the ribs down towards the hips. Spiral outer arms forward to drop the shoulders. On the second warrior one, really think about using the lower third of the trapezius, your big back body muscle, to lower the shoulders from the ears. Can you smile? Can you feel the achievements of your practice really in this moment? When you are ready, exhale, release. Remove your blocks, pop onto your back toes, and step into downward facing dog. This time, no cues, but you can just pedal out the legs. Take any movements here that feel like they are serving you. Let's start our cool down. Step the feet together. Inhale, float the right leg up and back. Keep a bend to the bottom leg. Look forward and exhale, place the knee to the outer right wrist, toes to the left side of the mat. Keep a strong point at the toes to protect the knee joint. Walk your fingertips in towards your body. And pigeon is actually not too different in the back leg from what you were just doing in warrior one. So you can feel that amazing stretch to the hip flexor. And then we'll release it by lowering down. Take your elbows wide. You could place a block under the head, stacked fists, or planted palms. In this pose, feel the right hip pulling back as the left hip melts down so that your sacrum is actually shining evenly up toward the sky. Feel an amazing passive stretch now through the external rotators, as opposed to that more active stretch we had in the back leg for warrior one. Slow down your breath. And take this time to really connect once again. This class was very much in the body. There was a lot of deep alignment, a lot of focus. So as we cool down, I want you just to kind of return to that connection between the body and the mind. Noticing how things feel. Noticing if you can be really present through your closing poses. Stay there forever. If you could as well pause the video and stay. If you're joining us, walk your hands in, tuck your back toes, and return to down dog. Step your feet together. Keep the softness at the bottom leg, so the right leg, as you send the left leg up and back. Look forward, place the knee to the outer left wrist, toes to the right side of the mat. Lift and lengthen as you inhale. Hinge and fold as you exhale. Left hip pulls back as the right hip drops down. Again, the sacrum is shining up toward the sky evenly. Walk your hands in towards your body. Shift onto your backs for a brief Shavasana. So those three poses are all about facing forward, right? The pelvis was facing forward. We're facing anything that is coming our way. And there's a strength to that, right? With that warrior one pose as your final pose. So as you lay back in Shavasana, think about anything that is coming forward at you in your life right now, and how you can approach it with that strength that you have just fueled up with, to help find a new ease, a new grace, a new effortless effort with whatever it is that you are currently facing. Close your eyes, relax your face, and land here for a moment or two of silence. You're welcome to stay here as long as you wish. If you're closing class with us, just bring your hands together, press your thumb towards your forehead. Take a deep breath for yourself, all the way in, all the way out. From my heart to yours, Namaste.